Hello and welcome to the Reef Talk Extra channel, and today I'm going to tell you about the new Tunze Aquawind 2 aquarium cooling fan. Now this works by blowing air across the surface of your tank, which reduces the temperature, which is very handy because right now in the UK in the summer we have hit about 25 to 30 degrees this week and my tank is getting too hot, so I need to cool it down. Now because I bought this with my own money, there's no disclaimer, so let's get stuck straight in. So I'm first going to run you through a few specs for the Aquawind, and it comes with a very long cable that is 11 feet long, which is 3.3 meters, so plenty of space for you to put it anywhere you like on your tank and have the cable plugged into your cabinet. It also draws just 1.7 watts of power, which compares very favorably to my previous or my existing fan, which draws 5 watts of power. Admittedly, you're not going to be saving millions of pounds of money on electricity, but nonetheless, it is very efficient. And it's rated for tanks up to 800 litres, which I think might be a little bit optimistic, but that's what Tunze say. It's also IP57 rated, which means if it dips into your aquarium, it can survive a quick dunk. And also Tunze say that it will be okay in humid environments, i.e. in your sump. However, it is designed to go on top of your aquarium and blow water all the way across the surface of your tank, which is the most effective way of cooling. It attaches with these little grips here, and they are adjustable from anything up to 22 millimeters, which is 0.866 inches. And also they are adjustable by angle, so you can point them down and angle them towards your tank. Now Tunze actually don't say in the instructions whether it's best to have it flowing directly across your tank or pointing down, so I've had it pointing slightly down, which seems to do a decent job. And the last thing to tell you about is the price. The Tunze Aquawind is expensive. It costs £100 in the UK compared to my previous unit, which is a Boyu cooling fan it's called, which was about 20 quid online. So very expensive, and we need to see whether it's justified. I've only had it for just under a week so far, and I will be able to tell you my own experiences with it so far. However, I've designed a small experiment to hopefully show you a little bit more just how effective it is. So we're going to start by checking that out. Okay, so for my experiment, I set up a couple of tubs that hold about 20-25 litres of water, and I filled them with salt water. I have 3 tubs in total, one to put the Tunze Aquawind over, one to put my existing cheapo Chinese fan over, and a third to act as a control. I then took temperature measurements before I started the experiment. The water with the Tunze fan on was at 24 degrees C, the water with the Chinese fan on was also at 24 degrees C, and the control water was at 23.8 degrees C. Now this was in a relatively warm day in the UK. The ambient room temperature was about 24.5 degrees C, and it was quite nice and warm and sunny outside. I then left the tubs completely on their own for 2 hours to see how they got on, and when I came back, I was quite surprised by the results. First off, the control had lost 0.4 degrees C as it had dipped from 23.8 to 23.4. And the Tunze had done really well, dipping the temperature from 24 to 22.8. So that's a 1.2 degrees C drop, which is 0.8 degrees more than the control. However, the big surprise was that the cheapo Chinese fan did almost exactly the same as the Tunze. It went from 24 to 22.9, which is a 1.1 degree drop, so as near as makes no difference, exactly the same. Now those results really surprised me, and I expected the Tunze to do much better, but I do want to give you a bit of context and tell you about my experiences with the fan after a few days, and I'll tell you why I still think it would be much better than the cheap Chinese fan. For a start, the Tunze one just feels a lot more powerful. If you stand at the end of the tank, you can still feel the breeze, whereas you can't with the Chinese one, and the Tunze creates much more ripples than the cheap Chinese one does, so it looks like it's disturbing a lot more of the water, so over a longer period of time than 2 hours, and maybe in a hotter environment, I would expect it to outperform the Chinese one quite significantly. And when I've had it over the top of my 2-foot water box tank, it's made about a 2 to 3 degrees C difference compared to my Fluval Evo, which doesn't have any cooling whatsoever, and that is plenty enough to take the edge off in the hot summer here in the UK. But while it's doing a good job on the water box, I don't think I'd want to put it on my main tank, which is currently using a massive 9-inch hydroponics fan, and even when it gets really hot, that fan keeps the temperature less than a degree hotter, 1 degree C, hotter than it normally is, so it does a really good job. The downside of the hydroponics fan, of course, is that it is very ugly and it takes up a load of space. It sits on my the top of my aquarium, which I don't really like, and it is a lot noisier than I would like. The Tunze is much quieter, pretty much whisper quiet. You can hear it blowing the air around, but it is very quiet and not too obtrusive. And importantly for me, it is much quieter than this cheap little Chinese fan I've been using. So overall then, I do like the Tunze Aquawind 2 and it's doing a really good job on my water box. I like that it's nice and low profile and sleek, and I like that it's very quiet. However, it's nowhere near as powerful as my massive hydroponic fan, so I won't replace that on my main tank just for yet. But if you don't want a massive loud fan over your tank, by my reckoning and in my experience having tried a few fans over the years, the Tunze Aquawind 2 is probably just about the best on the market, but you don't half pay for it at £100. Now, if you've got any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for next time. And until then, happy reefing.